from these events. This is fantastic to see. I'm very excited to get into this play because I mean, this is like top tier players here. Lucas versus Haruki, and top tier matchup as well in that Regidrago versus the Charizard. Let's see what our prize cards are starting off things here. Ooh, a lot of energy around on this side.
Pink card for Haruki as well. The Pheasantipity, part of that Duskull as well. The energies are terrifying for Lucas. That can be a big issue when you're trying to get that early turn 2 attack with this deck. Sure, you might have the energy switches ready to roll, but if you don't have the energies, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? I mean, we saw that before in our previous matchup. Jim was lacking on some energies. You could lose that juice very early on in the game. We're going to have to see what happens here for our players, but we've got the fist bump. We're kicking off this Swiss Round 5 here in Louisville, Kentucky. Let's see how things are starting out for us. We got 2 small HP Pokemon here. One's a nice little Hoot Hoot versus a Charmander, but that Buddy Buddy Poffin is going to be bringing out a couple more of those small HP Pokemon. Of course, very, very important 70 HP Pokemon than those Charmander jumping out onto the field from this Buddy Buddy.
We are not playing around anymore. You cannot let your opponents take advantage of you with that Dragapult that we often see, especially from a deck like this that can attack with Dragapult's main attack in as early as the 2nd turn. But yes, the Buddy Buddy Poffin there to start things off. Going first and finding that Buddy Buddy is so useful. It gives you that big advantage to start to establish that opening board state. And we know how things start to work around here. If you've got the basics, you're just candies away next turn from having a huge accelerated opening attack.
Absolutely, I know, and that is one of the reasons that I put Charizard on my map here from Haruki playing this deck, because I mean, I'm just banking on the consistency of this deck. You get all of these Pokemon set up, and then you just start rolling here in the later half of these games. So this is going to be interesting. Coming from Haruki, also believing in the Charizard, and we're going to see multiple Pokemon come out here to join that Charmander, but it's going to be the Bidoof and the Pidgey. We got more on the way here. Look at that starting hand. You get the Buddy Buddy Poffin as well as a Nest Ball. I mean, this is beautiful to see as the Charizard player.
Yeah, 3 Pokemon to the bench on this opening turn. You have the Charmander, and when you see Hoot Hoot, typically you're not that worried about your opponent attacking you. It's going to be either a Terapagos deck,
yeah, you don't
or
even know what
one
you're playing.
Regidrago decks. So you're not getting attacked on your opponent going second. You're going to have that additional turn, so you don't have to go double Charmander this early.
Yeah, there's no threats on the field just yet, so which is even better here for Haruki. You can set up all of these consistency cards that are going to help out so much down the line. One of those being this Rotom V with that instant charge ability. We're going to activate that right now, end the turn here, draw into 3 additional cards for Haruki. We have the energy down onto that Pidgey as well on the bench. We're tossing it over to Lucas. Now we have to see, will the consistency fade away here for our Regidrago player, or is Lucas going to be able to make something happen here on this first turn? What's this hand looking like, Kyle?
This is nightmare fuel. Not only did we see those prize cards looking great, and we were like, oh, well, he might have trouble with energy. He's just going to start playing energies with Earthen Vessels right now to thin. He has nothing else in hand. Prime Catcher, the Noctowl as well, but there's no additional Pokemon to play down. It's Hoot Hoot in a dream.
Oh no, that is not what you want to see. We were talking about the 2-2 line here of these cards, but look at this. All we see is energy, and it's in the hand, it's in the discard pile, it's in the prize cards. It is not where we need it to be. We need to see some Pokemon. We need to see some cards that we can actually play here, Kyle.
We're going to see a triple stab, Boo.
Gosh, what?
We're going to see little Hoot Hoot pecking away for its freedom.
Yo, its move is called triple stab.
That's tough.
That's brutal. That is brutal.
I'm scared.
I mean, Hoot Hoot, I guess we asked for the spooky regional here, and the Hoot Hoot's flying out for a triple stab.
Freddy, Jason, and Hoot Hoot. Look out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this is tough here for Lucas starting out. 2 Earthen Vessel already down, 2 energy cards going to those Earthen Vessels just to get at least some cards played here, and that is a rough discard pile here for Lucas.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's 4 energies
That's
and
it.
a bunch of utility items and a Noctowl. He's just stuck at this point, and I think we've got the answer on the other side. Let's flip some coins for fun.
Yeah, it's 10 damage for each heads that Lucas is able to get. That's one.
Get him.
That's still one.
That
oh,
is
that
one.
Is one. That's 10
Well,
damage there on the Charmander.
I wonder if there was a way to win right now. What do you think, Boo?
I wonder. Well, Rare Candy is definitely one way to get there. Charizard EX in the hands here. Infernal Rain able to get those energy out. Nice and clean and smooth here for Haruki. Smooth sailing. It's unfortunate to see there for Lucas, but Haruki is going to take that single prize knockout. No more Pokemon on the board there for Lucas. And Haruki's taking game 1.
Yeah.
Without doing anything, really.
Haruki's hollering and hooting and his opponent's
and hollering. Oh, no. Yeah, Haruki, I mean, you gotta... At this point, it's like, well, wish this was best of 1, right?
Yeah, that was great.
Cool.
Can we go back to Japan and try that out?
Yes.
I'd be looking at getting a snack right about now.
I mean, this is, I guess, why you see best of 1 could be tough here. Because imagine, you're Lucas here. You have that start, and then you lose the whole match. That is tough. But nope, we're playing best of 3 here in Louisville. So Haruki is going to have to keep things consistent once again going into this game 2. And Lucas is just going to have to get some cards.
He went second. He did everything you're supposed to do. Just buy time and look for that supporter and then make something happen. Play a Pokemon. But no, that was not an option for him. And sure enough, he's going to have to look to, maybe play Pokemon this second game.
Yeah, so let's discuss these lists here, Kyle. I mean, Lucas is playing quite an interesting one. Is there anything else that you see here that in the list for Lucas that might be kind of off for our Regidrago players? Because Regidrago is kind of shaping up a new story for itself. I feel like its lists have been redefining a bit lately.
Yeah, there's a few ways to look at the Regidrago lists at this point now. You can go for this consistent approach, feature the 1/1 Noctowl or the 2/2 that we see here, and just really streamline that main attack of copying Dragapult, maybe even a Kyurem every once in a while. Keep your opponent honest, but there's not that many other attacks that we see here. The Giratina V-Star to hit that 280 can be helpful in some matchups, but we're not going to include the Hisui and Gudra in there anymore. There's not going to be that Noivern that we've seen players start to include. Just some nice, clean, consistent Pokemon, attack with a Draco, and go for the world.
Yes, exactly, and that's all Lucas has to do if only his deck is able to cooperate with him. So hopefully we'll see a better game here for both of our players, but of course that all starts with the prize cards, and of course Lucas also has to get a basic Pokemon out here. Looks like we finally found one. Let's take a look at these prize cards between our players and hope there's nothing too detrimental so we can see some nice clean Pokemon gameplay here.
Get that additional card added to the hand for Haruki.
Ooh. Well, it looks like we're starting off, Kyle. We got the fist bump into our game 2 between our players. No Hoot on the field this time. We're going to have a little bit of a beefier Pokemon out there, that Regidrago V. So now Haruki knows what's going on here. There's the prize cards. We were asking for them, and I don't even want to see them anymore,
Can we put them back?
Yeah, put them back.
That's not great. There's one Regidrago V-Star for the rest of the game if you're not drawing your prizes. And that's how you draw your prizes.
That is how you draw your prizes. Okay, Lucas, we just got to get those first bottom prize cards, please. We need to get there.
A couple triple stabs and you're there, buddy.
Over on Haruki's side here. It doesn't look like anything too bad. Yeah, I mean, those are all duplicate cards that we see in the deck, so Haruki is going to have nice, decent time here in this match as well. Lucas is going to take note of these prize cards, of course. This is the first initial deck search for Lucas, so making sure to keep track of everything that is not in the deck, because that's definitely important. Of course, we're going with a nest ball here, so we're going to grab a Pokemon and get out onto the field here very soon for Lucas as well, which is great. We're already seeing a much better start here in this game 2.
Boo, what's the first thing you think he wrote down there?
Regidrago?
2 V-Star. He's like, oh boy, this is going to be tough.
I don't even know if you have to write that down, honestly.
Yeah,
you just know it.
It's going to be lodged in your brain for a while.
Exactly. Well, Squawkabilly has joined the field here. Squawkabilly EX, one of those supporter Pokemon. It is a consistency card. Squawk and Seize allows you to throw your hand away on your initial turn. You going first, and you get to draw 6 cards. So a lot of supporters going down there for that hand that's discarded, as well as a Knocked Owl.
And unfortunately, along with that, the Super Rod, which can be
And
difficult
once
to
the prize
lose
cards.
early on in the game.
Yep, yeah, that is tough for sure here for Lucas. We have the Hoot Hoot on the field now, as well as one of these Ogre Pawn. Is there energy to match it, though?
One energy, and that's the tough spot. You see the grass energy, and you typically go, oh, this goes to Teal Mask. I'll draw my extra card. But Lucas, he's got to really make a decision at this point. Do you draw hoping to see an energy, or you just play this energy to the active and say, well, that's one less energy I have to switch now?
Yes, we saw the debate there, but that grass energy going on to that Teal Mask Ogre Pawn. We're dancing around here, drawing an additional card. Of course, energy switch was in the hand, so it's being switched up to that Regidrago V, but that's another resource used now there from Lucas to get into that additional draw on that first turn. Now we're passing over to Haruki after the bench of another Regidrago V. So those are going to be ready to evolve next turn, but we only have one V-Star, which is kind of rough here. Haruki, on the other hand, trying to get a stable start himself here. Arvin is going to be the choice supporter. A fantastic way to get a stable start as a Charizard player. You get a tool and an item card, which is what Haruki's going to be doing right now. Of course, that Buddy Poffin to pop out. Lots more Pokemon onto the field. This time, Haruki is going second. So how do you see that gameplay change a little bit now that Haruki's not going first?
Yeah, for Haruki, this is all about how much am I willing to bench at this point, because the threat of Kyurem on the other side is devastating. You don't have that Manaphy. You have no protection. So if you play down too many Charmander, we're just going to wipe those all out with the Trifrost.
Bye-bye.
And you're in a lot of trouble. So finding a board that you're comfortable with that still has an opportunity to draw some additional resources with that Rotom perhaps would be very beneficial, but you can't go too far either way, because then your opponent then doesn't go for Kyurem and they go Dragapult instead, and they maybe knock out a Pidgey, and you can leave yourself vulnerable. So you have to find this middle ground that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, Charizard EX, I feel like it's just one of those decks where you want to utilize going first if you can, just because so many of your opposing decks are also wanting to go first so that they can pop off these incredible cards and make these big plays against your Pokemon that have yet to evolve. So Haruki is starting out strong here as far as these consistency cards, but it's all going to be up to what Lucas is able to accomplish on this next turn coming up, and if it's going to be too difficult for Haruki to deal with. But, I mean, we know here these players come to the table and they bring everything. And I'm sure Haruki has been in this situation once or twice here and is going to play very smooth here in this match.
Yeah, what a cool opportunity for us to feature a Champions League champion and a regional champion.
So cool.
Up against each other in such a great matchup. And it's so tricky for Haruki at this point. You have to respect what your opponent's capable of, but they haven't shown you very much. This was an ugly turn, losing a lot of resources, using Squawkabilly and only accelerating one energy to the board, using Energy Switch. It doesn't mean your opponent's going to have very much to back this up.
Yep. It's going to get spicy here, Kyle. Going to get spooky if you do say so yourself. But these Pokemon are joining the field. We do see that double Charmander this time around that we lacked in the last match, but this time the Duskull coming out, as well as that Pidgey, of course, to set things up for this later game. So you kind of see the strategy mapping out here, a little bit different from the last game we just saw, and that Rotom is going to end the turn with an instant charge, 3 additional cards to the hand. But I love Charizard's got the Dusknoir line now. I love to see that. It's one of the reasons I also picked Charizard, because it can have some risky matchups, and its playing field, it's so even with so many of the decks that it goes against. But having that Dusknoir is pretty cool.
Yeah, it opens up the Snorlax matchup for you a lot of times, and also just finding a way to deal with an opponent that's playing wisely against you. If they don't give you the prize cards to help you do some additional damage, you just open it up yourself. Go, fine, I'll give you a prize card. Let's start going.
Speaking of opening it up here, we saw a Teal Mask Ogre Pawn, a Teal Dance into that Regidrago V-Star. So that is pretty cool. That is our singular Regidrago V-Star. It's growing up here. That's what we needed to see for Lucas. Now we have 2 energy onto the Regidrago, and now we're cooking here, Kyle.
See you later, Hoot Hoot. Plenty to work with at this point, though. The energy switch vital to the strategy.
Yep.
And we see just the Dragapult at this point, which is still pretty viable. It's an opportunity to remove Charmander and Pidgey from play at the same time, which can put a lot of pressure on your opponent.
Exactly.
But do you want more?
Do you want more? These are the decisions that have to be made by our Regidrago players right now. You're seeing this Legacy Star. It's the V-Star ability. You can only play one every single game, and it's being utilized now here from Lucas. You discard 7 cards, and then you get 2 back to your hand from the discard pile. So we see that within the energy switch, allowing Lucas to line up the energy needed on this V-Star to be able to attack. And you see the Dragapult EX that was in the discard pile already to be able to be copied. That Phantom Dive from the Regidrago V-Star.
Okay, Boo. Do you take out the Duskull so that your opponent can't Dusclops plus Charizard you? Or you take out the Pidgey so they can't draw anything? Lucas, with the respect to the Duskull, will actually allow the Pidgeot to come into play next turn if it's available.
I kind of dig it.
This is the way that you stick around. Regidrago cannot be knocked out this following turn.
Exactly. That is huge here. Lucas getting this Phantom Dive here. This is only turn 2 that we're seeing. The Regidrago V-Star piece was found. We have that Apex Dragon move, copying Dragapult, taking out a Charmander and a Duskull, 2 prize cards down, and Haruki has that Pidgey left to be able to hopefully set some things up. Of course, we have the Charmander with the energy attached on the field as well. So now we're going to have to see these Pokemon evolve and these lines start to come into play here. But that Duskull is not going to be a part of it this time around.
And how do you go about this as
There's so many
Haruki at
cards.
this point? He's got plenty of resources. Charizard seems eminent at this point. But you have to respect the fact that Teal Mask Ogerpon has a grass energy. It could end up attacking into your Charizard, taking a big knockout if you overextend into this Regidrago V-Star next turn.
Exactly. Well, Force Seal Stone is going to be one of those pieces to get things set up here for Haruki. The V-Star power in the Star Alchemy. Not only do we have the Regidrago using the V-Star power, but we got a Rotom V. It didn't even have one. Now it's got one. Star Alchemy finding any card here for Haruki to align these pieces needed. We see that Pidgeot EX coming up here. And like we said, plenty of cards were in the hands here for Haruki, but it's about the sequencing. How do you play these cards? Which order do you go? Pidgeot EX coming out after that Force Seal Stone here. That's going to allow for a quick search this turn.
Oh boy, there's strats lined up. We see the Defiance Band in the hand. This could be Radiant Charizard potentially coming into play.
Yeah, that is true, Kyle. Ooh, I love it. I mean, this is why I love to watch our players from Japan as well. They just seem so calm, cool, collected. It's like they know their decks better sometimes. It doesn't make sense to me, but that is awesome to see. Well, we saw that rare candy being eyed up here. Charizard EX is going to come out off of that Pidgeot EX, but still, yeah, plenty of cards in the hand here for Haruki to utilize. Ultra Ball being one of those cards to discard 2, and that's any Pokemon, Kyle.
This is so clean.
Radiant Charizard.
Throws away fire energy.
Love
the hand is super rods. So you could just accelerate those right back onto this Pokemon.
Yeah, and you saw all the resources were allocated for before in that last search. Now the Arven being utilized to get that rare candy out as well to just, I mean, Haruki knows exactly what he's doing here. Super Rod to recycle these Pokemon that were just discarded as well as the energy back into the deck. Now Radiant Charizard's already on the board here. Fantastic to see here for Haruki. That Infernal
It's the whole hand playing out at this point. It's got to be worth a high five.
Exactly. I mean, if there's one thing that Haruki has done, it has been flawless sequencing here. The Infernal Rain ability on that Charizard EX, accelerating these 3 energy needed onto this Radiant Charizard, as well as Defiance Band that was in the hand for Haruki. That's a knockout there on Regidrago V-Star, going down 2 prize cards. What a response from Haruki. And Lucas just having to choose what to promote next.
Shell-shocked.
Exactly.
Absolute nightmare fuel for Lucas. You lose game 1 in 2 turns with a hoot pass. And then game 2, your Regidrago, the only Regidrago V-Star that you had, thankfully has drawn a second one now off the prizes, is knocked out by Radiant Charizard out of nowhere, off the top rope.
Yeah, that was incredible from Haruki here. Lucas promoting this Regidrago V. gonna be able to evolve into the V-Star. Of course, that was taken off the last prize cards that Lucas was able to get to the hand, so that's fantastic to see. But, I mean, you're not really expecting your V-Star to go down straight away, so we're working uphill here because that V-Star still needs 3 energy to be able to get off of its attack. So Lucas is going to have to put a lot together here. Super Odd's going to start us off, get 3 grass energy back into the deck. But I got to tell you, Kyle, I was between Regidrago versus Charizard EX for my caster picks, and I'm feeling good right now.
You've definitely chosen some great cards, and we see Lucas really struggling to put together the strategy at this point. He was able, thankfully, to add in some of those resources, the Super Rods, to bring back in multiple energies, and is now searching them back out with the Earthen Vessel. You can accelerate these a little bit. You have the Teal Mask Ogre Pawns for the turn, Fire Energy attached to the active, but you need all of your energy switch in order to attack with Regidrago this turn.
Exactly. I think about that too. The Regidrago V-Star and the Super Rod were the 2 prize cards taken as well for Lucas. So, I mean, we were just a couple of cards being short of this turn right here for Lucas to be able to even come back slightly in this matchup. But we're seeing energy fly down now. 1 on that Teal Mask Ogre Pawn, drawing additional card. 1 from the hand onto the Regidrago V-Star. Temple of Sinnoh coming into play as our stadium between our players.
Yeah, this is the professor's research looking for either those 2 resources in the energy switches or the Noctowl to help search them out. 1's in hand, Ultra Ball as well. So that should be enough to at least combat this Radiant Charizard.
Yeah, that's nice. We see the energy coming down, drawing additional cards. Oh yeah, we still have Flip the Script as well from Lucas.
That's a bird.
It's a bird. That is very true. I mean, this is just a phenomenal consistency card here. It's almost in every deck that you see now in the Pokemon trading card game. Flip the Script, draw 3 additional cards if you had a knockout happen on the previous turn to one of your Pokemon. So fantastic. And speaking of consistency, I mean, this is the 2-2 line coming into play here. It's the Noctowl evolving on the bench, Jewel Seeker being utilized here to get 2 item cards out.
Got nothing left. Those are the items. There was 1 other Ultra Ball, but no more resources for Lucas other than Prime Catchers and Energy Acceleration via the Teal Mask Ogre Pawns. You have to put together a strategy that wins from this point forward, and it's difficult. I think it involves ignoring Radiant Charizard, honestly.
It might, actually. It might. I mean, yeah, this is a tough situation to be in. Of course, you know, that Combustion Blast, it does a lot of damage, 250, but it can only be used once every other turn unless it has some sort of switch out and reset of that move. Lucas using Ultra Ball here, discarding a couple of cards, getting these Dragon Pokemon out of the deck within that Giratina V-Star. And we're going to see another Ultra Ball. That Giratina V-Star going right where it needs to be, into the discard pile as well. Is this going to be a part of the strategy here for Lucas down the line here, Kyle?
It's hard to say what you can do from this point. With the Giratina V-Star, you immediately start to think of, well, if you can remove that Pidgeot from play, you're in a really great spot. But there's no space on the board right now for a free retreat option like that Cleffa to bounce around and just switch in with the Prime Catcher. We've already seen the Supporter used for the turn as well with the research. So it Prime Catcher plus retreat plus discards from Lost Vacuum equal no resources left to attack later on. And that sounds pretty bad too.
I know. That's one thing about these Regidrago decks is they go through their resources quickly. That is for sure. And that can lead to very messy late games for this player. It's almost the opposite of what we see with the Charizard EX. But here we go. 2 energy switch now here for Lucas. That's what we needed to see. Now it's the Prime Catcher, though, being able to switch here from Lucas' side as well as Haruki.
Yeah, this is, you can promote retreat, go all in, remove this Pidgeot, and hopefully your opponent with 2 cards in hand is not able to find some relevant way to continue on in this game, but there's still some viable threats.
I mean, you never count a Charizard player out, that is for sure, but Regidrago V-Star, gonna utilize this Giratina V-Star, Lost Impact, 280 damage. Perfect math to take out that Pidgeot EX. 2 prize cards down for Lucas, only 2 more to take to wrap this game up, but he has been responding to every single turn by just the skin of his teeth here. So 2 energy now down into the lost zone, never to be seen again from Lucas's side. But Haruki, now that Pidgeot EX is gone, you still have 4 prize cards to take. Are we going to be able to see enough of a response here to overtake Lucas in this game 2, take a 2-0 win? Have to see what happens here.
Haruki just downloaded the deck list. Everything's been used at this point. You've seen everything that's happening, and there's not much that your opponent can really do at this stage. There's no way for the Regidrago to attack next turn. Clearly, no attackers ready on the bench, ready to roll, and you can maybe use this Radiant Charizard at this point to continue on attacking, deal with some of these threats, and I believe that Turo is also there to help remove maybe one of these easier Pokemon to knock out. It just depends on what you think your opponent's capable of. Is it the defense of Charizard and that grass weakness, or is 190 easier to reach with the Rotom?
Ah, yeah, the grass weakness. Charizard EX, you're used to seeing it, a Charizard as a fire Pokemon, but it's a Terra type. It is a dark type.
It's so tough. You can see he's really debating at this point.
Weak to
Which
bugs.
one can you knock out easier?
Exactly.
Read his face. What does he want to do with you?
No, Lucas is not going to give up any information from the expressions. There's just no way, but that Turo is going to scoop that Rotom V out of play. It's going back into the hand here for Haruki. And then we're seeing the knockout once again from this Radiant Charizard. The Pidgeot EX was taken out before from that Regidrago, but the Radiant Charizard was still remaining in play. Combustion Blast able to take that knockout. Of course, that Defiance Band as well on there. And now it's just the Ogerpon in the active position here for Lucas, and both of these players are tied up.
Here's the plan. Attach, and get that energy on this Pokemon, attach a grass energy and pass the turn. And then next turn you go Boss's Orders, grass energy, and try to attack into that Charizard. But we don't even see the resources in hand just yet. It's just one other grass energy at this point.
Singular grass.
Thankfully, you have the buffer of
look at that.
Radiant Charizard doesn't have a way to attack this turn after using Combustion Blast. That retreat would be disgusting. And we know that there's no energy for that Charizard, potentially. It's really difficult to find at this stage.
Yeah, all the energy is out on the field here. And speaking of energy, Lucas, I mean, we saw there's 3 cards in deck right now. A grass energy is one of them. A fire energy is another one, and then another additional card as well. So Lucas gave those 3 cards a nice shuffle here. But as you said, Kyle, it's just the grass energy pass now. Boss's Orders already in the hand for Lucas. On the left side of our field, Haruki has used Combustion Blast in the last turn. We're going to see a Buddy pop in to look at the deck, see what resources are left here. But I mean, just look at the difference in how many cards are here for Haruki versus Lucas on the other side, sitting at 3 cards.
Lucas
strategies.
No information. He has not seen very much. He's got enough for a potential game 3, but yes, on the other side with Haruki, he knows the entire deck list at this point, and it is so difficult for either player now to figure out how to close out in a game like this. For Haruki, you're thinking, I don't want to play this energy onto the Charizard. I can't open up for my opponent to have that Myriad Leaf Shower take a big knockout, but there's still lines for Lucas. He could play fire energy for the turn, grass energy for his ability, and get there with Boss's Orders.
Yeah, that's tough. It's really going to come down to these last turns here, Kyle, between our players. Oh, it's just a pass.
This is so close.
Just a pass. What was the top deck here from Lucas? It's not a grass energy.
He was really hoping for the grass energy.
Yeah,
Is there any way
and then
to
that's
draw?
it. It's just a fire and a grass left in the deck. But I think it was the Ultra Ball, actually, that was top decked from Lucas. Still needing an additional energy on that Teal Mask Ogerpon to be able to attack.
So the draw had to be grass into the fire to get there. It does not have it. Instead, now you Boss's Orders to stall for time. Just pull up the Charizard because it's not attacking or retreating at this point.
Yep, that is so true, Kyle. This is so tough to see here. Lucas just not, I mean, 3 cards left, not getting the top deck needed, but still playing around this. Using that Boss's Orders, just passing once again. Only 2 cards left to be drawn. Dusknoir is the top deck here from Haruki. Rotom V being eyed up.
There's
back
no way to move this
top.
Pokemon
That's
right now.
it.
Rotom V to draw additional resources looks to be the play.
That is it. Yup, Rotom V coming back. It was turroed out before. Now
He's
it's back
just
on
gonna
the field.
draw cards. Is there a
Instant
grass
charge.
energy? There
It
is. He rips the grass and finds the fire to close out.
Incredible here from Lucas, getting his deck all the way down to just 3 cards. Those 2 energy being the last 2 needed here for Lucas
In that
to take.
order.
Yes, in that exact order. I mean, I guess you had a 50-50 chance, right?
Yep, that was dangerous.
That was very dangerous, but the grass energy being able to be played down with the teal dance, of course, drawing into that fire energy, attaching for turn. Lucas had all the pieces there, that exact order to be able to take that last knockout there. And wow, I mean, that was incredible, Kyle, for a game 2.
How do you come back from that? We're going to check out the replay to see how this all went down, but I mean, for Lucas, this wasn't the best opener. Lost a lot of resources to get to this point. Thankfully, rips that Regidrago V-Star and is able to perform this opening attack, and this was a huge point. Do you take out the Pidgey and limit your opponent's resources, or go for that Duskull and hope they just don't have it in hand? It leads to this nightmare situation. Haruki plays the entire hand down. Rare Candy Pidgeot, Rare Candy Charizard, Triple Energy Defiance Band knockout on your only attacker for the game so far. And
so
for
wild.
Lucas, it has to be double E switch right here to stay in the game, but you lose every resource you have to get here. And for Haruki at this point, he sees, well, thankfully you avoided knocking out my easy prize here for the Radiant Charizard. Radiant Charizard can continue on. And what a ridiculous state. Just passing the turn over and over. And it had to be that order at that point to close out the game.
Yeah, it had to be that exact order there to be able to get those 2 energy needed onto that Pokemon for that huge knockout. All those energies, of course, accumulating to more damage there for Lucas. This is a game 3 now here in our Swiss round 5. Kyle, we're kicking things off between these 2 incredible players. We've already seen some wild gameplay from both of them, but let's take a look at our prize cards. So far, we're seeing a lot more energy now on Lucas's side, stuck in the prize cards.
Whoa, that's a pass, and it seems like maybe the tides have turned at this point. Lucas had been the master of bad hands. Now it's Haruki's turn. But this isn't a great opener for Lucas. He's ripping his prime catchers and throwing away his resources. Needs to find some additional Pokemon to help out, and it looks like he found a couple of friends.
Yeah, going incredibly fast here. Professor's Research just throwing everything away there. But we're going to be able to draw into a couple more resources from Lucas. What was it?
With the Earthen Vessel. I didn't see the grass energy, so that had me really worried. Missing energy for the turn there could really throw off the resource map, but found the Vessel to continue on. And now maybe this Ultra Ball can go after another Teal Mask or a Hoot Hoot, regardless of... just depending on if you want to accelerate more energies or have that consistency of the Noctowl.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have to see what the strategy is from Lucas. What will he choose to do here? Bringing out an additional Pokemon. It is going to be that Hoot Hoot coming out off that Ultra Ball, Regidrago V, as well as a Cleffa hitting the discard pile now for Lucas. Did you get a look at what else was discarded? I mean, of course, that pink card, as you said.
Oh, there was the Kyurem, which is a beneficial resource to throw away early, but I didn't see much else there in terms of attacking power or those main resources that you don't love to lose, those Drago V-Stars, those energy switches. So should have plenty to work with.
Well, Earthen Vessel going to discard another energy here now to search out these 2 for Lucas. Fantastic card in this deck here. That is great. Those 2 energy being drawn out now.
Just having your eye on the fire energy can be vital.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just looking over at the other side of the field too here, unfortunately for Haruki, when you see this start, I mean, this is enough here for Lucas to get going, as well as Haruki's side of the field. We just saw the Pidgey, and then that Pheasantipity, and now it's in the active, and we have very little setup aside from that. I don't know what this hand is looking like, but we're going to start off with an Ultra Ball here, discard a couple more Pokemon to seek out another one. But this is just one step behind now. You went first, you didn't get out these Pokemon that need to be evolved in the later turns, and that's just going to leave huge liabilities potentially down the line from Lucas's deck that can really just copy tons of different moves from these dragon Pokemon.
Right. Turn 2, benching all of your basics and hoping that your opponent, who is not wasting resources, doesn't have a way to refill post Kyurem, which clearly looks like it's a potential strategy here for Lucas. It's devastating. It means you have to be thinking Radiant Charizard, Defiant Band from this point, and it's just difficult to line that up when you're trying to establish a board.
Yeah, that's the downfall here, unfortunately. If you don't get that setup, you are struggling as a Charizard player, but Haruki going to do everything possible and just hope that Lucas doesn't have it on this next turn. But that's tough. That is a tough ask for a Regidrago player that has so much capability. Once that V-Star comes down, the Legacy Star, V-Star power, the drawing cards with the Teal Mask, Ogerpon, the energy switches. I mean, we see some incredible turns there. But, oh, what's going to limit that potentially is that Iono. I don't know if that actually put more cards, though, in Lucas's hand. I think it did.
Yeah, that can be a tricky thing. But at this point, Haruki just needs to see more resources.
You need a hand.
You're starting to flood the board with the buddies now, thankfully, added. And that means at least one more Charmander will be added to the board. And it's cool to see that missed energy inclusion, too. We've seen it start to be a one-of. It was that double turbo for a little while, too. But this can be a little added protection against some of those Pokemon like the Dragapult.
That is true, yeah. Blocking the effect of those damage counters. That is pretty cool. Duskull, a little protection there with that missed energy. Multiple Charmander now out on the field, as well as a Bidoof. So Haruki still not even phased by an awkward start here. We're going to get those consistent cards down. The Buddy Buddy Poffins. The Iono was the supporter for turn that obviously drew into some solid choices here for Haruki. Now we got a full board on the other side, but it's up to Lucas to absolutely destroy that board. Potentially here, we could see an incredible game-turning turn here from Lucas, but what are we going to see? It's going to start out with the Iono.
Lucas might not the start you want.
Oh, must
no
have
energy
not liked
to go
the
with
hands.
this.
Yeah.
Oh
my God.
Any help here at all?
Not even a grass?
There's the Draco V-Star and the Earthen Vessel.
Okay.
But didn't see the Noctowl, got scared.
got scared.
We're grounded. We're coming back, and this should be enough at this point. If you want to use the Kyurem and incorporate that Trifrost and take a triple knockout, that is well within your power.
Yes, exactly. An incredible move that's able to be utilized. It's just a single prize card Pokemon in that Kyurem. Trifrost, it costs a lot of energy, but not if you're a Regidrago V-Star. You're able to copy that move from the Kyurem as long as it's in the discard pile. 3 of your opponent's Pokemon can potentially go down 110 damage to each. And look at that board.
This is so cool. You can do it without using your ability. Just burn the resources. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Well, what are you going to do next turn? How do you attack? He's got double E-Switch ready to go in hand.
Look at that. I mean, you see the triple knockout on Haruki's side. 3 Pokemon go down. That's 2 Charmander as well as that Duskull. That's the entire strategy here for Haruki. What do you do if you have no Pokemon to play? These are all supporter Pokemon out on the field now for Haruki. The Pheasantipity that's been stuck in the active. Pidgeot EX that has been putting a couple of these pieces together throughout the turns. And a Bidoof that's not even an evolution yet. It's not doing nothing on that bench.
Yeah, the only thing you really can do in that spot is get lucky. Get to a point where you open with the Radiant Charizard and attach an energy to it so that if your opponent does go for the triple, you have that energy for the turn. You have Excited Heart to help out. You don't rely on the Rare Candy Charizard, and then you can take the knockout to put some pressure on your opponent. This way, you don't really have the resources. It would take Thornton Miracles, and I don't think we do have one in the list, so maybe Haruki's able to pull off some pretty spicy plays.
Some Thornton. Oh, you love to see it. That's got to be one of your favorite cards, I think, Kyle. You love the Thornton play.
So fun. It was Swoop Teleporter, it was Ninja Boy, and now it's Thornton. Just anytime you can surprise your opponent, we're all about it.
I wish it was still called Ninja Boy. That is so cool.
It was crazy.
Well, we did see the flip for script. That's going to add several additional resources here for Haruki to the hand. So we have a decent chunk of cards now for Haruki. We did see that Radiant Charizard as well come down onto the field. That's what we needed to see. Quick search still at Haruki's grasp here to be able to get another card out of the deck, but is just mapping out how to play down this hand here.
Looks like just clarification on how many cards were in the hand before that Pheasantipity draw to flip the script. Now we'll see if it really did flip the script. There's a rare candy in hand. There's a pitch out available. Can we see the shenanigans?
The shenanigans. We'll have to see. Haruki, of course, utilizing this quick search to get. Oh, I see some shenanigans, Kyle.
Do you really have the belt too? That's the band. Why do I keep calling it a belt?
Yeah.
Get out of my head.
It kind of looks like a belt, honestly.
But if you have all the pieces to knock out this Regidrago V-Star, that is insane.
I mean, I'm pretty blind, but I'm not.
I don't see it yet.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it yet, I guess. I mean, I don't see how else we can get there here. All of our supporting abilities have been used so far. So Thorin is going to be utilized here, but it's just going to be to swap out this Bidoof that was on the bench onto the Charmander.
Charmander.
Exactly. Yeah, right. Which, of course, Bidoof has been out on the field. Now it's a Charmander. It can be rare candied into this Charizard EX. Infernal Rain ability accelerating these fire energy to the field here for Haruki onto that Radiant Charizard. So I love to see this. Charizard EX, I mean, it's not just your linear Charizard EX anymore. It can do a lot more than that with these attackers. And Haruki, once again, has a pretty decent response here.
Yeah, this is tough. You have a decision to make now. Without the knockout immediately lined up with the Defiance band, maybe it's Prime Catcher, just take out that Ogerpon, and that seems pretty great too.
I like taking out Ogerpons. I like taking surprise cards.
Yeah, get out of here. I don't like when you accelerate all those energies. You can have all the energy switch you want.
Exactly.
You don't have any energy to move,
you don't have
buddy.
energy. Yeah, what you gonna do? That is very true. Well, Radiant Charizard is coming into the active now here for Haruki. As we talked about, that excited heart ability allowing you to attack with less energy than needed for the prize cards your opponent has gone down. Is going to take that knockout there on that teal mask Ogerpon. Fire weak, and it's going down to that Charizard. There, 2 prize cards for Haruki. The Duskull and the Ultra Ball being drawn. Regidrago V-Star. Like you said, Kyle, we had a bunch of energy switches, but how are we going to get there?
Right. And
well, that's one way to start things off.
For Lucas, it looks like he's already used all of his resources. He's going to be in a lot of trouble. No, he's still got Legacy Star. He's still got Noctowl if he's able to play down that Terra to help out too. There's plenty of resources that could flood this board, and he's just trying to set up a checkmate at this point. Knock out that Radiant Charizard, protect yourself with a secondary attacker ready to roll, and have yourself just a boss's orders away on a Pheasantipity from cleaning up this game and pulling off a ridiculous comeback in this game.
Yeah, we could see it, definitely. This is the flip the script, 3 additional resources. I think we saw, I think it may have been 2 Noctowl there, and a ball card. Ultra Ball going to be played to discard that Noctowl into this Teal Mask Ogerpon. We're putting things down onto the field. Yeah, it was 2 Noctowl. That's wild.
All right.
Well, Jewel Seeker, we have the Terra Pokemon down into play. Jewel Seeker's able to get out 2 item cards here for Lucas now.
I love it. It's just Vessel Rod.
Yeah.
you just need those grass energies again. It's such a basic strategy, but just get energies in play and attack.
I mean, we're talking about quick search here, but there's a new bird on the scene for sure in this Noctowl, allowing you to get these item cards out, and these are the item cards that you need to put the rest of these pieces together for this Regidrago V-Star deck. So, I mean, this is cool. This is very cool to see. Noctowl, I mean, we've seen it in the Terapagos deck, but look how much utility it has in these other decks that it could be potentially slotted into.
Yeah, for Lucas, now you don't feel like playing down these resources until you have to. So if you use the Legacy Star, you can discard all of these resources, not worry about throwing away grass energies, and then start to fill the deck back up with the Super Rod. But what are you looking for here? Do we Prime Catcher and find a easy Pokemon to swap around? Is it Cleffa? Just so to have a retreat?
Yeah, that's true. Well, Nest Ball coming out here for Lucas. Discarding these 7 cards, you get 2 of them back from your discard pile. The rest are thrown away. So you get to pick and choose, recycle your resources however you need. This lets you utilize several other strategies that you might not have before. You're duplicating cards essentially here. We saw that Prime Catcher go down early on. I think it was like the first turn off of Professor's Research, but now it's back here. Recycling an A-Spec. I mean, that's incredible to see. Energy switch here as well for Lucas. Of course, we need some energy for that.
Well,
but Super Rod is going to help out with that, getting these energy back into the deck first of all.
yeah, find the Teal Mask Ogerpon. You can search this out with the Nest Ball, the Earthen Vessel for the double Grass Energy, then move both Grass Energies with the energy switches, attach Fire, and attack with your Regidrago. It seems like so many pieces and insurmountable to have all those resources and to make this happen, but it happens every game with this deck.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, it does, you have to have some pretty high-powered skill in sequencing if you're playing a Regidrago deck, because just one slight mistake here and you could be struggling. I mean, even just not even putting out a Terra Pokemon and then accidentally evolving your Noctowl, I mean, imagine.
Yeah, my over-under on the weekend is at least 0.5. Someone will do it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm sure it's happened in the field for sure. But now we see these Teal Mask Ogerpon. One was recycled back with the Super Rod. It's brought back out with that Nest Ball that was selected off the Legacy Star. We see these Grass Energy be accelerated. This is going to give Lucas that chance to energy switch them onto the Regidrago V-Star. We're setting up this turn here for the Regidrago, and this is how this deck functions. It's the bread and butter. We even have a Radiant Charizard of our own on the field now for Lucas for the later turns as well. And this is just fantastic.
Yeah, think about what Lucas needs to piece together a win at this point. He's got Pheasantipity to continue drawing. He gets to put the damage down to set up a couple of these Pokemon to be knocked out in range of Radiant Charizard. And you're just looking for that Prime Catcher, energy switch. You're ready to go.
Ready to go. Phantom Dive, the spooky dragon Pokemon. That's also a ghost in this Dragapult EX. Taking out that Radiant Charizard. Another prize card down here. Of course, that damage as well. So, wow, that's just...
I guess there is an important piece there. He had 2 Grass Energy prized and wasn't able to find one. He drew the only non-Grass Energy, which would probably have made this a lot easier if there is a knockout on the Regidrago this turn.
Ooh, this actually, yeah, this could get sticky, Kyle. This could be quite scary here. We're going to have to see what Haruki chooses to do, starting off with the Nest Ball. I mean, we're talking about sequencing. Haruki is also fantastic with the sequencing, knows everything that's in the hand here and what needs to be done in this coming up turn. That's one thing about Pokemon TCG. Your opponent can have a very long turn. They're almost solitaring their cards against you, but then you have all that information to think about, okay, how do I respond to this now that this is the board state I'm looking at? So Haruki gonna just fail this Nest Ball here. And it's going straight to the discard pile. What are we looking at in the hand? It's gonna be a Duskull coming down onto the field for Haruki into Justin Iono. Now, that's gonna put Lucas at 2 cards for each prize card that you see. That's gonna limit him in the later turns for sure. But still, there's that recovery option there with the flip the script. If we can see Haruki pull something off here. But what are you seeing, Kyle?
What's the best move at this point?
Exactly.
Yeah, he found Fire Energy, which opens up for the Charizard to attack. It's got to flip the script as well.
Yeah, that's
to
great.
Get some additional resources. Is this a turn where you search out the counter catcher? Maybe go after the Pheasantipity and make sure your opponent doesn't have the ability to draw out of this mess. You see the Regidrago there, but there's no attack that you can copy that it's going to knock out a Charizard at this point. Just go after the heart of the draw engine at this point. Remove Pheasantipity, and your opponent has 1 draw to try to make their way into a knockout with Teal Mask Ogerpon. It's difficult to make happen.
Yeah, but these are the lines that Haruki is seeking out here. The quick search, grabbing that counter catcher. Haruki is behind in the prize cards. That Pheasantipity is going to come up here. We've been talking about how important that is for these decks to be able to come back in the later turns, draw into some extra cards and be able to work with something to recover from these losses. But Haruki is going to bring that up, say this is enough of a threat. I want to take this out so that you can't recover from here on out, and I can take that edge to take this game. Lucas is just 2 prize cards away from, so that Charizard EX is going to come into the active here for Haruki, and we do see that Fire Energy in the hand that's able to be accelerated for the turn as well.
Yeah, what a big read there to pick up on ways that your opponent can close out in spots like this. You just oh, is he not taking the prizes?
Oh, that's wait. So that was just a.
Does he have a read on what's going on here?
A read on the resources? Well, we've talked about this, Kyle, that Haruki has literally seen every single card in Lucas's deck. I mean,
He has to pass.
that's it, just a pass. Okay, so we pass over to Lucas. Lucas has nothing, passing over to Haruki. Haruki's gonna have the ability to get things set up even more here with a quick search. Now, are we seeing a masterful read here on the cards that are left from Lucas, and is Haruki able to set up an ending turn?
He's trying to set up.
Oh my gosh,
for
the
some
Briar.
big Briar plays. Does he have access to the Dusclops or Dusknor to make this all work?
I mean, I think so.
This
Let's
is
see.
so
There's Ultra Ball.
ridiculous.
Ultra Ball discarding the Charmeleon as well. Oh my gosh. As the Arven, okay, let's see what's in the deck here. There's the Dusknor off the Ultra Ball.
Yeah.
Oh
and-
my gosh, are you serious? Arven gonna be played for this turn here for Haruki, lining things up here. We see the rare candy coming out as the item card.
Yep, you can just
That's it.
you can play it down and just pass over
Yeah.
one more turn.
You're set up.
You're just waiting for your opponent to miss energy, miss everything of this stage. It's not there. It has to be past the turn, and the Dusknor can just remove Knocked Out for play and get you into that perfect spot. Briar, it's all there, and Haruki takes 4 prize cards to steal the game and close out the match.
That was incredible, Kyle. Haruki had the read on all of the cards there from Lucas and knew the exact out and played it flawlessly. I mean, I cannot believe that's how that ended. That is incredible here, the Briar. I mean, this is just the beautiful showcase of Briar. That is a new card that we're dealing with here. And I could not have asked for a better a showing of it, honestly.
Yeah, we're so not used to seeing the low hit points on the other side of the board, but the Dusknor is able to remove Knocked Out from play and line up that perfect 3 prize knockout to close out the game. And what a read there to just call that out. Let's check out the replay and see how we got to this point.
Yeah, let's take you back through this because this was just an incredible match between our players. This was our game 1 here, which ended very quickly. The Hoot Hoot was all that was out there for Lucas. Nothing else was brought onto the field, and Haruki had everything in hand to be able to take that knockout. Take a quick game 1, but things shifted here in our game 2. Lucas, on the other hand, had all of the resources ready to go, had a stable start here. Even with the Regidrago V-Star going down, was able to respond once again to knock out this Pidgeot EX, get these prize cards down, that Giratina V-Star using every resource possible. So many energies were down, so many resources down to 3 cards left in the deck. And like you said, Kyle, they had to be drawn in the correct order as well. You see it, top deck, Grass Energy, Teal Dance, pick up the Fire Energy. That's what was needed to take out that knockout. Lucas picking up the game 2, but then in our game 3, I mean, it was looking so heavily weighted for Lucas for so long.
Yeah, what an amazing opener here to use the Kyurem, take the big knockout, and close out on 3 early prize cards. For Haruki, it did have to be the Thornton into Rare Candy Charizard, promote onto that Radiant Charizard, and continue just to put some pressure on your opponent. And I mean, what a ridiculous read here. After we see Lucas putting the pressure on, Haruki sets up a perfect checkmate, brings up that Pheasantipity. There were plays there. You could attack into the Pheasantipity and then maybe work your way into boss's orders, knockout, and set up next turn. This was so clean. You can wait, and your opponent doesn't have the resources. They've played all their energies. Briar, Dusknor. Name a better combo. I'll wait.
Exactly. I mean, we even thought the Pheasantipity was going down. Lucas thought the Pheasantipity was going out.
If you remove this Pokemon, your opponent has 2 cards.
Yeah.
They have no way to draw additional resources, and they can't win the game with that Regidrago. You're going to have a way to close it out next turn. You win the game. You can search out the boss's orders. You'll be fine. But it opens up for your opponent to maybe have boss's orders. And if they have boss's orders, they just take out a Pokemon, they win the game at that point. Instead of playing into that, says, you're going to need so much more help than this, I'm just going to pass the turn, and was able to set up checkmate.
I know. I mean, that was just wild to see for sure. But all the cards were there. The reads were there. Just needed that one single turn to set things up. The quick search being utilized there to get the rest of those cards out, to align everything on the board. And Lucas couldn't respond. That was it.
You give good players access to any card in their deck, for multiple turns, they're going to pull off some crazy shenanigans, and we saw that there. Haruki with a ridiculous closeout there to become 5-0 at this event, and maybe it won't just be Kyoto Champions League champion on that resume. There could be a lot more coming.
Oh my gosh, I mean, that would be pretty wild. We saw the win for Japan in Dortmund. What if we saw it here at an NA regional in Kentucky? I mean, that would be incredible. But hey, multiple prize card knockout turns, that's the way to get there, apparently. Yeah. Dusknor, we see it all over the place in our decks out in the field. And you see it there, took out that Noctowl, that's one prize card. Briar coming out of nowhere here for that Charizard to be able to take 3 prize cards, and that was all that's needed. I mean, that's something that seemed unfeasible before. A Charizard EX taking 4 prize cards in one fail swoop there. And we just saw here, I mean, what an